Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley with you right now. It is Wednesday afternoon, right on the money at 3 o'clock here. What we're going to be watching for the rest of the day today, obviously, it continues to be very, very hot. We know this. It's been like this all week long. What's different about today is in addition to the heat, we're also worried about scattered thunderstorms, which could be severe at times. We're talking about the afternoon into the evening. I really think all the way through about 11 o'clock or so this evening is when we could have some scattered severe thunderstorms. A couple of things you want to consider and just continue to do. Be smart about the heat, limiting the outdoor time, drinking the water. I hesitate to tell you too many tips because we all know what's the best thing to do when it's hot outside as we live in North Carolina. Well, however, let's be alert for these damaging wind gusts and possible hail, along with thunder, lightning in these thunderstorms that will start to pop up. They're not in our area yet, but we're starting to see them pop up in the Raleigh area over toward Asheville. Only a matter of time before we get some of those thunderstorms close by later on today. Wanted to pass along a really remarkable weather stat to you that I found earlier today to be really interesting. The morning low in Greensboro, 79 degrees. Think about that. That's the low temperature for today's date as it stands right now. If that holds, if we don't get a downpour and it cools down to 76 or something later on today, if we stay at 79, that is the second warmest low temperature for any date in Greensboro history. We have records that go back all the way to 1903. So think about it this way. Out of 40,000 some odd days of record, this could be the second warmest low temperature we've ever had. That's pretty impressive, at least to me. Let's talk about the heat, of course, throughout the afternoon. We have reached 95 to 96 degrees yet again. Raleigh challenging 100 degrees yet again out that way. So far, we are not noticing any storms. The sky pretty quiet, just a milky cirrus cloud or two over downtown High Point. As we look over Main Street, everything is easy going, but it is brutally hot and terribly humid as well. Your 3 o'clock temperatures look just like this, right around 95 degrees throughout much of our area. Troy, looks like you've topped right around 100 near the century mark there. Similarly, down in Moore County for Pinehurst. What about the humidity? It's really bad. No surprise there. Dew points in the 70s. So when you take the heat and you add humidity to it, it is more difficult for our skin to cool off. We call that the heat index factor, and that's a real thing. Sometimes people scoff at that. It's true. Your body has to work harder to cool down when it's humid outside. It's just science. The sweat doesn't evaporate off your skin like it should. So right now it's feeling like this around our area, right around 100 in many areas, low 100s elsewhere. Again, the hotter it is, the more humid it is. That's kind of bumping up that heat index temperature. So we've talked about the heat. That's going to continue, not just for today. This heat advisory, which has been in effect since Monday, it's going to extend another day, sadly, into tomorrow. Our Thursday still looks to be very hot and very humid for our area. And like today, there will continue to be a storm chance for Thursday. So let's talk about storm chances. This is the severe weather storm risk product. We show this to you when we're expecting at least a couple of severe thunderstorms. It can be on a scale of 1 through 5, 1 being the fewest possible and not all that likely, 5 being just an extremely rare situation. For today, we're in a level 2 risk of severe storms across the Triad area. If you zoom out, you'll notice there's a big area of level 3, just a little bit more likely to get bad storms today from Charlotte to Columbia, upstate South Carolina near Greenville, over to Georgia as well. Those areas have a better chance of getting bad storms, but we're in that line of fire as well, and we're already starting to see, even as of the early afternoon, lots of thunderstorms popping up in parts of North Carolina. Not everywhere, but we're noticing some trends. Thunderstorms kind of clustering up over here toward the foothills in North Carolina mountains. Notice how many lightning strikes are happening out of these, and lots of them starting to form out here in eastern North Carolina, around the Wilmington area, over here toward places like Sampson County and Clinton, over toward Raleigh as well. They've already seen some power outages. Let's kind of go one by one and kind of show you what these storms are looking like so far today, because this could be our future. Right now, don't have any storms in the Triad to track for you, but we could easily start to see that happening in our area. In the Raleigh area, this is the first storm that popped up earlier today. It was right there near Knightdale, Wendell, if you're familiar with those regions. This was a big thunderstorm for a while. Likely was a bit of a microburst or a downburst. It did put out the power for a couple thousand folks in Knightdale. Looks like they're still without power there. And what's that telling me is that these storms today have a lot of potential to down some trees and power lines. That's not even the strongest of the storms that we've seen so far today, but it did already leave a bit of a mark. Just to show you a different area, this is down I-40, not quite to Fayetteville or Wilmington or anything like that, but that's Sampson County. You see these storms, very big, lots and lots of lightning, dozens upon dozens of lightning strikes. So if you get into one of these, it's going to rain like mad. You have almost constant lightning and that threat and the potential of damaging winds that could be 60 miles per hour or even a little bit higher. That's the concern in any of those storms, just like that one today. Again, that's in Sampson County, North Carolina, not going to affect us. But we're just going to watch storms like this. This is up farther north, a little bit closer to 95. There's Roanoke Rapids. Rocky Mount would be just off screen. Here's I-85 if you're going up by Henderson and up toward Kerr Lake. This is kind of that general area. Lots of heavy action, lots of lightning. There's usually a shelf life on these. They can't keep themselves going more than an hour or two, but still, they're going to leave a mark with a lot of rain, a lot of lightning, and that potential of damaging wind gusts. That's the main things that we're watching for today. This lightning tracker shows about 85 lightning strikes just within the last 15 minutes on this particular radar view. And the storms have been really tall too, upwards of 30 to 40,000 feet, which means there could be some hail that forms in some of them as well. That's what I'll be tracking behind the scenes as we go through the rest of the afternoon and into this evening. Now, there is likelihood that we'll start to have a bit of a severe thunderstorm watch going through the rest of the day. As of right now, it hasn't been issued just yet, but it should be issued very shortly. Live view over in Raleigh. Earlier, this was looking at one of those severe thunderstorms. That looks to have calmed down a little bit right now. We're up in Danville, Virginia, where there has been a bit of a thunderstorm as well. You can see the stormy skies. Nothing all that bad. Hopefully, it's cooled you down a little bit. Definitely is needed. Our Futurecast starts to get a little busy, doesn't it? Over the next few hours. Right now we're at 3 o'clock, but by 6 and 7, we could see that cooling thunderstorm in our area and that potential of some high winds and lightning. So let's be aware of that between now all the way through about 10 to 11 o'clock this evening. We'll get a break in the action overnight tonight. Then tomorrow morning looks to be quiet. Still very hot, still very humid. Temperatures will be in the mid-90s for tomorrow afternoon, and there will still be a storm risk, a little bit higher chance out in our western counties, but that potential of a couple thunderstorms does remain for our Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening, and the same could be said for Friday. So really the next 2 days continue to have a bit of a storm chance similar to today, but just a little bit of a lower severity, right? Our different models show the same idea, scattered showers and storms today, tomorrow, and into Friday. As far as today's threats, what are those concerns? Well, as I've mentioned, it's mostly the threat of damaging wind gusts. Charge up your phones. I'd recommend doing that just in case you were to lose some power. Keep that in mind. Hail can't be ruled out. Tornadoes are not going to happen. We're not worried about tornadoes today, but sometimes a severe thunderstorm with really high winds can be just as damaging or scary. So please, if you get a severe thunderstorm warning for your location, or if you hear thunder, get inside. We had a horrible situation in South Carolina yesterday where over a dozen people, close to 20 people, were somewhat struck by a lightning strike at a lake. Lake Murray, I believe it was. Heat and humidity will continue through the rest of this week. There's no big relief in store for us, even though the numbers will come down a little bit. It's going to stay very hot and humid through this weekend. The severe weather risk for tomorrow is in the level 1 category. We'll let you know if that gets upgraded. Same thing for Friday, level 1 across the Carolinas. And again, we'll let you know if any of that changes. As far as the heat potential is concerned, still very hot, especially going into tomorrow. We're likely to have a heat index of right around 100 degrees. Not quite as high as we've been the last few afternoons, but still, it's a really hot and humid day of weather. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, you kind of get the idea. No big change, but it's still just really hot outside. Looking at the 7-day forecast, heading into tomorrow, still that chance of showers and thunderstorms popping up across our area. A couple could be strong to severe. And then into the weekend, we're looking at pretty calm, normal summertime weather for us. High temperatures will be right around 90. The storm chance is a bit lower for Saturday and Sunday, as it looks to me, and staying warm and humid all the way through next week. We'll have more updates. Of course, we have our live newscast coming up at 4 o'clock. You can watch that all the way through 6:30 here on WFMY Plus and also on WFMY TV. We'll have another streaming update at 6:30.